30% this week alone. Huge move, biggest move we've seen since 1975. There was another factor there. A, it was a very speculative move, and B, we had a couple different margin increases, and that pushed people out. Oil, you had something else going on. You had OPEC, and we've had hints that OPEC could raise oil supplies at its June 2nd meeting, which also pushed prices down. So it's not just the big picture stuff. There's other things there kind of behind the scenes.
But you chose to play oil. Why is that? Because you can understand these fundamentals, the reasons why there was a decline better than the others?
Yeah, I think so. I think gold is interesting as well, quite frankly. I mean, earlier this week, we saw the Mexican Central Bank publishing information showing that they had bought almost 100 tons of gold in February and March alone. But oil, let's focus on oil. I'm off my tangent. Oil, there's a seasonal here. So everyone talks about sell in May and go away for stocks. And there is some truth that equities do better in the beginning and the end of the year than the middle. Oil's different. Hurricane season starts June 1st. Summer driving season is starting basically now, and those demand and supply drivers help push oil up. Over the last 20 years, 2/3 of the time, we've seen a positive oil seasonal. So if oil is going to get some support and bounce in the coming months, let's use currencies to get that exposure.
And there are a lot of currencies that are tied to oil, so which one did you choose for your trade?
Well, I think there's a couple things you could do over the coming months, but if we were going to get into something right now, or Sunday, right, Sunday night when the market's open, I'd focus on the Norwegian crown. For a couple of reasons. A, it's a big oil currency, big oil exporter, but Norway next week is probably going to be raising interest rates. We're looking for a 25 basis point hike Thursday, and you have a great entry level. So I think there's a few things here that line up nicely. I want to buy the Norwegian crown against sterling. Now, why sterling? Because sterling's going to be hawkish next week too with its inflation report. The reason I'm doing this is because we don't know what's going to happen with risk appetite right now. And if dollar goes up on risk aversion, Norway sells off, but so does sterling. So I'm taking risk appetite out of the picture a little bit and making this a pure play on Norway.
You know what? I like
it's
this.
Nothing to say.
No, I like this trade. I don't.
For the first time.
It's definitely a
No. I'm just biting my tongue. Sterling, I don't like that. I don't like shorting that.
But you like the crown aspect.
I like the crown aspect, and I like the other aspect. I mean, you can trade this a lot of different ways. I'm nervous about what they're going to do at the MPC meeting, or the MPR meeting, whatever that thing is.
The inflation report.
Yeah, the inflation report that comes out of the Bank of England next week. And I think that they could be more hawkish. They had a very poor inflation number. It was plus 0.8. You know, that kind of get the euro sterling sinking down. We'll get to that later, but that's why I don't like that per se. But I think overall, you got the right grip on this thing, and the seasonals work really well for this.
Curious, what pair would you use? Crown versus what?
Question.
I would use, if I was going to do something, I'd probably use the Brazilian real.
Ooh, long Norway, short Brazil.
Interesting. All right, that's food for thought as we go to break. Bottom line here, though, first, Rebecca's way to play oil via the currency markets is to sell the pound against the Norwegian crown, and your first chance to make that trade, as she mentioned, Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Here's what's coming up next on Money in Motion. It's the inside secret on WikiLeaks that even Julian Assange doesn't know. How you can use the site to make money in the currency markets. Andy will explain when Money in Motion continues.